The Omega sector of Station Kepler 9 had a reputation. Good species didn't go there. Respectable families averted their eyes when passing Corridor J7. Even maintenance drones avoided it when possible. That's where they kept the broken ones. Crics huddled in the corner of the communal room, his sightless eyes reflecting nothing. The young Thraskar's hunting heritage mocked him. His species tracked prey across entire continents using vision that detected heat signatures through walls. Without sight, he was worse than useless. He was shame incarnate. Beside him, Vila preened her wings obsessively. The young Aryan's flight feathers had never developed properly. Her people lived in floating cities among the clouds. A flightless Aryan was a contradiction, an impossibility that shouldn't exist. In the far corner, Tor sat motionless. The Lupari cub's vocal cords had been damaged at birth. His pack-bonding species communicated through complex howls that could carry for kilometers. Tor had never made a sound. 17 broken cubs from 12 species, all discarded, all waiting to die slowly in this forgotten corner of the station. Then Alina Cross arrived. She was small, even for a human, with graying hair and hands marked by decades of work. She walked into the Omega sector carrying 2 bags and wearing a smile that seemed impossibly bright in the dim lighting. "Hello," she said simply. "I'm Alina, I'm here to teach you." Crics's translator collar picked up her words, but they made no sense. Teach them what? How to be better at being broken. "You're wasting your time, human," croaked Administrator Vess from the doorway. The insectoid official's mandibles clicked with disdain. "These cubs are genetic failures. Their own families abandoned them. There's nothing to teach." Alina's smile never wavered. "Then you won't mind if I try." For 3 days, Alina simply observed. She watched how Crics navigated by memory, counting steps and using his whiskers to sense air currents. She noticed how Vila's useless wings created downdrafts she used to push objects across tables. She saw how Tor communicated through precise body language that the others had learned to read. On the 4th day, she began. "Crics, come here, please." Alina's voice was gentle but firm. The young Thraskar hesitated, then carefully made his way toward her voice. She placed something in his hands, a small device that clicked rhythmically. "Humans developed this for our blind," she explained. "It's called echolocation training. The clicks bounce off objects and return. Your ears are far better than human ears. Try it." Crics clicked the device. The sound came back, different when pointing at the wall versus the open doorway. His ears, evolved for hunting, suddenly had new purpose. Within an hour, he was mapping the entire room. "I can see," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Not like before, but I can see." Vila watched with desperate hope. "What about me? What use is an Aryan who can't fly?" Alina smiled and pulled out a data pad. "Tell me, Vila, your people build floating cities, correct? Who designs them?" "Engineers, builders." "And how do they test their designs before construction?" Vila paused. "Wind tunnels, aerodynamic simulations." "Exactly. And who better to understand airflow than someone who's spent their entire life studying wings, compensating for their differences, feeling every air current because their life depended on it." Alina activated the pad, showing complex engineering software. "If you can't fly, then build things that do. I guarantee you'll be better at it than any Aryan who takes flight for granted." Within weeks, Vila was designing drone configurations that outperformed standard models by 30%. Tor was last. The Lupari cub watched Alina with wary eyes as she approached with a strange device projecting light patterns. "Your people howl to communicate," Alina said softly. "But humans learned sign language thousands of years ago. We learned that silence doesn't mean nothing to say." She began forming shapes with her hands, each one making the light device create different patterns. "Your paws are more dexterous than human hands. This language can be yours." Tor's eyes widened. His paws moved tentatively, copying her gestures. The device translated, "Hello." For the first time in his life, Tor had spoken. Word spread slowly, then rapidly. The broken cubs weren't just surviving, they were excelling. Crics' echolocation allowed him to navigate pitch-black spaces during a station emergency, guiding dozens to safety. Vila's drone designs were being requested by Aryan cities. Tor's sign language sparked a revolution in Luperi long-distance communication. The administrator's office filled with angry parents. "You're making them think they matter," hissed Vila's mother. "You're giving them false hope." Alina stood before them, her voice calm but carrying steel underneath. "No, I'm giving them real tools. You're the ones who decided they were worthless. I just showed them what they could do." "They're defective," Crics' father snarled. "They're different," Alina corrected. "And humanity learned something long ago that apparently you haven't. Different doesn't mean less. It means untapped potential." She gestured to her data pad. "Crics has better spatial awareness in darkness than any sighted Thraskar. Vila understands aerodynamics at a level your best engineers will take decades to match. Tor has created a communication system that works without sound, through radiation interference, through any barrier. They're not broken. They're specialized." "That's not." "That's exactly how it is," Alina interrupted. "You know what humans call people like them? Pioneers, problem solvers, the ones who find new ways because the old ways don't work. Our greatest scientists, artists, and leaders often had disabilities. They succeeded not despite their differences, but because those differences forced them to think creatively." She leaned forward. "Your cubs aren't defective. Your societies are defective for not seeing their worth." 6 months later, the Omega sector was empty. Not because the cubs had died, but because they'd graduated. Alina stood at the small ceremony, tears in her eyes, as 17 formerly broken cubs received certificates in specialized skills. Crics had been recruited by station security for emergency response. Vila had 3 engineering offers. Tor was training other Luperi in his new language. Crics approached her, moving confidently with his clicking device. "Alina, teacher, why did you help us when our own families wouldn't?" Alina knelt down, gently placing her hand on his shoulder. "Because humanity spent thousands of years learning a truth the galaxy seems to have forgotten. A civilization isn't measured by its strongest members. It's measured by how it treats its most vulnerable. You were never broken, Crics. You were just waiting for someone to see you properly." Tor's paws moved in rapid signs, translated by his device. "What happens now?" Alina smiled. "Now you show the galaxy what you've always been capable, just in ways they never thought to look for." As she watched her students leave, heading toward futures that had been impossible weeks ago, Alina thought about what made humans special. Not strength, not technology, but the stubborn, unreasonable belief that every problem had a solution, every person had value, and the word impossible was just a challenge waiting to be overcome. The galaxy called them broken. Humanity taught them they were simply different. And different, as the universe was about to learn, could be extraordinary.